So basically what I do is I have my calendar and it has all of my assignments and due dates and everything that my supervisor expects of me, anything I need to do for NRHH. And then I also have personal things, and I make sure that I schedule in time with my friends and everything. But I have a to-do list that goes along with the calendar so I can cross off what I'm getting done. So I feel like I'm being productive, which has really helped me manage my time too, because if I see a lot of my RA stuff is getting done but my schoolwork kind of is getting ignored, I can balance that out. Another thing that I really suggest new RAs to do is to plan time for REMs. Don't just expect them to happen, because then that magical due date just kind of magically sneaks up on you and you get really overwhelmed.
Ideally, you think that you can just leave your door open all the time and that you'll be able to get stuff done because people will see that you're working, but that's not the case. So I figured out that leaving my door open all the time and that setting goals for myself was necessary when I was going to bed at 2, 3, 4 in the morning before I was even starting my homework. I know that sounds awful, but I'm kind of a night owl as it is. Residents would just come in one after another or in groups, and I was so tired by the time I was just done doing my job that I wasn't completing my other job of being a good student. So while I made sure to always get my work done, I was very sleep deprived at first, and that just constant fatigue and not really being able to communicate with my residents, listen to my residents, have fun with my residents, that kind of showed me that I really needed to set an expectation for myself for how many hours I could leave my door open.
It's more being mindful of kind of how long it takes. Just being mindful that you do have to do REMs, you do have to meet with all of them, and just know that there is a paperwork portion of that, and that you should kind of, use part of your day to kind of set aside some time, maybe use it as a break between homeworks, or when you need a break from reading or studying, and just know that it's a part of your job and you have to include that scheduling wise. And just, I guess, being more proactive about thinking ahead, starting to write any documents, bookmarking things, having things accessible, having key websites on your computer, having kind of the templates saved so you can get to those quicker, and just good preparation, especially at the beginning of quarters, really help out a lot. Whether it's what I do with school, I take all my syllabi and kind of look at all the key dates right away, put all those key dates into my calendar, into my phone, what have you, and then the same with due dates about your RA stuff, where apartment agreements are due here or REMs are due here, and just kind of have big flashy post-its or something so when things are due. And just preparation so that when you're in the thick of things and during your quarter and you have a bunch of things going on, you don't forget about those things, and that you're prepared with having the templates and all of that ready to go.
So when I started as a resident advisor, my first quarter was pretty rough. You suddenly realize that on top of being a full-time student, you have another job which is full-time as well. And you have a whole bunch of responsibilities that you need to figure out how to deal with on top of everything else that you're doing. And I remember feeling very overwhelmed and realized pretty quickly that if I didn't get a handle on time management, that I would be floundering. So my first quarter, like I said, was difficult. I had to figure out ways that worked for me to get everything that I needed to get done in the day finished. And basically what works for me is I have a massive post-it notes that I stick all over my room. That's how I stay organized. And I also carry a schedule around with me every day that has my appointments that never change, the ones that are always in that same spot on that same day, like classes or meetings with my supervisor. Then blank spaces that I know I can fill with other things that I need to do. And it's actually gotten a lot better. I can say that now I juggle multiple jobs on top of being an RA and a student. And it's just a matter of taking that responsibility, making sure that you're on top of everything that you have to do, know when and where you need to be, and also know when to ask for help. That was probably the biggest thing for me that I needed to get a handle on. I wasn't really willing to ask for help, especially from a supervisor, because I didn't want them to think that I couldn't handle everything that I had on my plate. But the moment that I did go talk to my supervisor, she was incredibly helpful, gave me a couple of her own tips, and helped me get my whole schedule figured out so that it could be a bit easier for me to move into that role as a resident advisor.
So one of the things that I had to do when I made the transfer into the RA position was I had to really prioritize, and I really had to figure out what things in my life were important and in what order I had to tackle them. Just because balancing family, school, the job, and then also your own social life and your own self-wellness was something that I really had to kind of figure out what goes first, how am I going to make sure that I do something for all of those things. And it's still something that I struggle with today, although I've definitely gotten a lot better at managing those things.